Okay,
Go ahead.
and the answer is yes, they'll start to realize it probably next summer, but there'll only be a handful of people that do, and I'm getting feedback.
Okay, Larissa, handle the feedback for me, please. Yes, ma'am. The second question, also, if gold hits $5,000, would a Canadian divide 5,000 by 1.5 to estimate the price in Canadian dollars?
Well, I think what's going to happen when we get into those stratospheric levels, I think gold is going to be quoted every day in every currency everywhere. And so the most damage to the currency that's the worst, in this case the dollar, gold will sell at higher prices versus the U.S. dollar than it will the Canadian dollar. And so everything will be discounted into the currencies via gold. For the last 6.5 years, every currency in the world has gone down versus gold. All of them. I mean, they've increased money supply over the last 10 years collectively throughout the world 11.4%. They should be increasing it at worst 3%. And so they've gone overboard. And so that's going to be the result. But the Canadian dollar is going to be one of the strong currencies, stronger than others. No panacea, but kind of the best 5 of the worst. And I'm recommending the Canadian dollar and the Swiss franc, Australia dollar, and the Norwegian krona as the best currencies in the world right now, and not the euro. And there's reasons for that. And so, you know, you don't worry about how many Canadian or American dollars you're going to get. What you worry about is preserving your wealth and being in gold and silver coins and bullion and shares and not the ETFs. You stay out of them because I don't think they got the gold and silver that they say they have. And I think there's going to be a giant scandal. And I don't think Comments and LBMA in London have the gold to meet their contracts. And the reason I know that is that COMEX is now paying people in SLD shares and GLD shares, which is ridiculous. And the LBMA in London, which handles large physical orders, they had to ask 2 months ago the Bank of England to deliver gold in their behalf because they didn't have enough. In other words, they were naked short. And so there's going to be all sorts of bad things going on. And so if you get silver and gold bullion or coins, take delivery. And if you're going to go into the shares, go into the Canadian shares. They're the best.
Mr. Chairman, the administration constantly feeds us information that the jobless rate is not as bad, yet on the other hand, a record 37 million people are collecting food stamps up to its highest level in percentage since the Great Depression. 1 out of 8 Americans are on some form of food assistance program, according to one government agency. Yet the government says we're walking away and we're actually getting better, and the inflation and recession is going to get better, and jobs are being created. I can't see jobs here in my part of the world, Philadelphia. I see people losing their jobs, and more people are going unemployment, and unemployment is soaring. How can these people literally look us in the face and say that everything is getting better?
Because they're crooks. It's as simple as that. They're liars. They're sociopaths. Some of them are psychopaths, too. And that's just the way that their life runs. And they think nothing of lying to everybody. Government lies about everything, as does Wall Street and banking. Because the people are going to find out what they've been doing. And when they find out, they're going to be so irate, you won't believe it. And how it's going to turn out, I don't know. But I think at the rate that we're going, there's no recovery, believe me. At the rate that we're going, 3 or 4 years from now, we could have an unemployment is 21.9%, and it'll be higher next month, guaranteed. And because they lied about this month's figures, and if you read the forecaster, it's all in there, how they did it. And it would not be unusual 2 to 3 years from now, maybe as much as 4, for unemployment to be double what it is now. And so if you think 12.5% people receiving food is high, double it. That's where we're headed with this thing. And these people have tried to save themselves, and they haven't done anything to help the public. They're not addressing the problem. They're not telling the public the truth. And the truth, very simply, is this. The government is broke. The major financial institutions are broke, not only here, but in Europe as well. And the only way that we can solve the problem is by using classical economics, von Mises, von Hayek, and so on. And the way you do that is you let everybody who's supposed to go bankrupt go bankrupt. I mean, that's what the system is built on. I mean, if you're inefficient or you speculate and you lose, you're allowed to go bankrupt. And so that's what we must allow to happen. And the American public has got to be told, look, this is what all these people did. And this is why they did it. And this is what we got to do. And what we have to do is we have to purge the economy. We have to let all of those banks and brokerage houses and insurance companies and other corporations, we have to allow them to go under. And yes, you're going to lose maybe 60, 70, 80, 90% of what you own. And that's just a price you have to pay for not paying attention. And that's the way it's going to take us 5 or 6 years to work ourselves out, maybe longer, and get ready for it. And we're not going to have another war to distract the people and start this thing all over again.
2 quick questions. One is, Mr. Chapman, I own my house outright now. I work for myself right now. I have a small repair business right now, repairing small engines. And I see that as a good economic position for the future. But you scare me when you say I'm going to lose 80% of what I have. My wife and I own everything, our car, our lawnmower, our house. We only have to pay a small contingency to the state in the form of taxes on the 20 acres that we have. Do you really mean that I'm going to lose 80%, or is it the people out there that's got their stuff and they're in mortgage to help that are going to lose?
Well, there's 2 different concepts here. The gentleman or lady who has submitted the question is unusual. They own a house. Only half of the people in America own a house and don't own anything on it. And so the value of their home will probably go down 50 or 60, 70%, depending upon where they are and what they do with their property. And these people now who have things paid for, your cars will, of course, devalue probably 80%. And other things that you have in your home and things that you use for your business will fall in value as well. The good part of it is if you have money, solid money, gold and silver, then you can buy things that you paid $100 for $30 now. And that's going to be to your advantage. The people who really get hit hard in situations like this are people who are leveraged. The other half of the people who have mortgages, because the value of the homes is going to drop 60 or 70%. Commercial real estate, 75%. The stock market should drop down to anywhere between 28 and 4,200 on the Dow. It's 10,600 right now. Bonds will go down in value because interest rates will go up because nobody's going to want to lend because they don't know who's going to pay them back if, in fact, they've got money to lend. This is what happened in the last Depression. And people who had everything paid for suffered. People who had nothing paid for suffered even more.
Mr. Chapman, one thing that bothers me, if I were to move outside the United States with my wife, we own our homes. We could possibly put our homes up for rent. If we moved outside the country with our pension and our small Social Security check, will the government still get the funds to pay us? And will they pay us if we're outside the country, expatriated,